Hello guys, so today we're going to be forging a hook that you can drive into a board in the shop or weld to a piece of metal beam or I-beam or whatever. This is made out of C-beam, and just the other part of it is just a really thin sliver, and then it'll make more sense once we get it out of the fire. It's kind of hard to explain. Y'all may notice that I don't have much coal in my fire pot right now, and that's because I'm trying to kind of savor as much as I can. That way I don't have to get as much coal. I'm just going to knock the edges off. I do not recommend rounding this, because if you round it, it's less likely to stay in the beam that you put it in. This one was cut with actually acetylene torch, so it's a really rough cut, so I'm just going to go and smooth down where that was cut. But you're not going to see this part whenever it's in your wall or wherever you're going to put it. Okay, I think that's good. Just gonna pull that off so I can hold it. Okay, now we're gonna work on the hook end. I'm gonna put kind of a fishtail type scroll on this. Or I'm just gonna do like a not a good little curly cue, just a standard curly cue scroll. It doesn't get much simpler than that. I got a new weight on my blower handle. It's a really hard steel, so I had to heat it up and anneal it. And I got my dad to put it on the metal lathe and bore a hole in it and just clean it up. It's really strong material, and maybe in a year or so, whenever I get better tools and I just get better at overall blacksmithing, I want to make a hammer out of some of it. And I got a big chunk, about 4 pounds, so I want to make a sledge out of a sledgehammer, and that'll be pretty nice. But that's not coming anytime soon. I gotta get a little bit better before I take on something like that. So the other day we hit 50 subscribers, and I'd like to thank each and every one of y'all who subscribed to help make these videos possible. And hopefully, we'll just start to grow, and then the channel will be even better, and then we can start making better videos and maybe get a better camera and just some more overall video stuff in general. But I'd like to thank each and every one of y'all who subscribed. We're just going to make that a little bit thinner. This piece is already cut to a taper, so that's kind of in my favor. Want to keep it nice and thin because you're going to be scrolling on this. You're really going to want that to be pretty thin. Which the scroll is optional. So if you are just making like an industrial thing and the scroll just isn't really for you, then you don't have to do it. And like you could easily do this project if you're just a fabricator. You could just cut off a little piece of C-beam and cut the end off and paper it with a torch, and then you can just heat it up and bend it. You don't have to be a blacksmith to do this. Good grip on that. And it's cool enough. That down to a planishing heat. Next, we're gonna make our scroll. So whenever we make the scroll, we're gonna make the scroll downward. So that way it's not in the inside, and whenever you pull something off, it doesn't get stuck on the scroll and then you have to undo that. Just, it's not fun to get something stuck on one of these hooks. Trying to think about this. Yeah, I gotta do it downward. So that's about good. So I'm going to show y'all something over at the anvil. So y'all might have noticed on the anvil in the hardy hole, this little thing here sticking in there, and y'all might wonder what that is. So this is my crude version of a bending jig. I just took a piece of round bar, I upsetted it to make it thick enough for the hardy hole, and I wrapped it around, and then I made it fit, and I ground it down some. And now it fits in the hardy hole, so I can stick my hooks in there and bend them around. And I've made about maybe 9 hooks in it with using it so far, and it's been pretty good. And that's what I'm going to use for this project. favorite part. You want to make sure when bending this that the scroll doesn't come up past there, because you're gonna have to strike that to drive it into the wood. So if you cover it up with the scroll, you can't hit it, so it's pretty much useless if you do that. You'd have to cut it off and try to get something else figured up. This jig has really made my forging way more efficient. And there y'all go. There's a perfectly functional hook. You can just drive that and take your hammer, drive that into a board in your shop or garage, and then you can hang stuff on it or do whatever you want to do with it. Thanks for watching.